Have you ever wondered how Netflix always seems to know exactly what you want to watch next? Whether it's that perfect new show or a hidden gem, Netflix recommendation algorithm is working behind the scenes to keep you hooked on their platform. What if I told you that you can build your own AI system that works just like that? Today, we're diving into recommender systems, the same kind of AI Netflix uses to suggest content. And I'll show you how to code it step by step. Ready to create an AI that makes personalized recommendation like a pro? Let's get started. So I will explain how collaborative recommender system works by going through this Excel file. But essentially, user collaborative is when the system recommends certain items to a user based on similar user preferences. So let's take a look at this Excel file where the first two titles of movies and the rows are the people who've actually watched them and rated them. And we are specifically interested what to recommend to Alice. Now we have partial data about the preference of Chloe, Carlos, Angelica, and Sarah shown here. And we would like to identify what movie can we recommend to Alice. So the first step in user collaborative is to identify users who are similar to Alice. So from here, we can clearly see that Alice is similar to Sarah and Angelica because they both like Lord of the Rings and X-Men. So if they both like this, most likely Alice will also enjoy watching X-Men and Lord of the Rings, but not Narnia 1 or 2 because Angelica and Sarah rated low scores on them. So let's go through the Excel formula to understand how we can actually compute this. So to identify the similarity of one user with another, we use the dot product. That is by multiplying the rating of a person against the other person on that specific movie. So in this case, blank minus 5, so that's nothing, right? So if we multiply Chloe and Alice, there's nothing in similar, so it comes up with 0. If we look at Carlos and Alice, they have some similarity here. That's a 5 multiplied by 1. And then Angelica, they have more similarity, so they will multiply all the similar scores, similar with Sarah. Now, this number already gives a correlation between the two persons. However, if we solely rely only on that product, we might get biased when there is a very high rating. So, for example, for some weird reason, Chloe rated 100 for Narnia, then it will already see that there is a high similarity between Chloe and Alice, when in fact, it's the inverse. So to control the result against higher values, we have to consider the magnitude of the scores that's being rated. So we have to get the norm or the magnitude of both the user, which is Chloe, which is the sum of square of the values that being rated by Chloe and by Alice. We then divided that product with the magnitude of Alice and with Chloe and Alice. Then you get a more stable result. So if we compare that, even when Chloe rated 100 on one high score, if we divide it with the magnitude, the similarity score remains small, and it's still able to recognize that Angelica and Sarah are more similar than Chloe. So once you have a similarity score between Alice and the rest of the users, it's now then a matter of multiplying the similarity score with the actual rating for each movie of the different users. So now if we multiply Narnia with the rating of Chloe, we'll get a certain score. In the same manner, we'll multiply the ratings against the similarity of each user. Then we can find, based on this recommender system, that Lord of the Rings would be a good recommendation to Alice, followed by X-Men. And now we'll go through the actual code in Python Notebook, how to actually implement user collaborative filtering using the example I've shown in the Excel. So in here, we just set up the data frame. We include Alice in the data frame. So now we have the complete set of data frames similar to Excel. The first function we'll implement is called the cosine similarity, which is exactly the same formula. You do a dot product of the two users and divide that with their norms. So linal that norm is similar to the square root of square of the values. The next step is to compute for the similarity matrix. Now, there are two ways to compute for the similarity matrix. One is to compute the raw cosine of the similarities between one user and the other. So in this case, we are just looping through all the users and computing the similarity between each of the user with the other set of users. which comes out with something like this. No? So similarity of Chloe and Chloe will of course be 1 because they're similar to each other, and Chloe and Carlos are actually very similar, but less similar with Angelica and Sarah. So in here, we'll be able to compute similarities across different users. Alternatively, we can use the adjusted cosine, which essentially computes first for the mean of the values. This addresses the issue when the user has consistently high rating or there are large outliers in terms of the values. So we're going to use the adjusted cosine or the mean-centered matrix, which is shown down here. Now that we have the similarity matrix of the users, we can then predict the rating, the potential rating of the users across all the products. So if you notice earlier in our dataset, there are certain movies that are not rated. Our goal is to compute for the rating of these movies based on the similarity of the users against the others who have rated those items. So if we go through this code, essentially what we're doing is we loop through all the users, get their mean rating, and loop through all the items that has not been rated by the user. We only retrieve the k-similar users. In this case, there are 2. So we'll only retrieve 2 because we cannot use all because some are not similar. We will only get the top similar items and compute the ratings and predict the ratings based on how they have rated using the formula I've shown earlier in Excel. So essentially, this just multiplies the similarity with the potential score. We then divide it to compute for the norm, and we come up with the completed matrix similar to here. So now we have a complete set of values with the predicted rating that Alice can give on certain movies. So if we then use this matrix, we will be able to come up with the potential movies to recommend with Alice, which is Lord of the Rings and X-Men. Now you've got the tools to build your own AI user collaborative recommendation system, just like Netflix. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring a bell so you never miss an episode. Got questions or ideas for future videos? Drop them in this comment and I'd like to hear from you until the next episode of Artificially Intelligent.